let's go to insecurity. In the northwest alone, in the last few days, we've lost about 90 persons in the last few days, northwest of Nigeria. We had 49 villagers were massacred in Kebbi, Kwara and Plateau State. In Sokoto State, there's a place called Gobir. They came and killed the Emir of Gobir. Yeah. And the villagers, the people of Gobir fled. Because if the head is gone, who will protect them? So they fled. 5 worshippers slaughtered inside the church on Easter Sunday in Kaduna, with 35 abducted. Nigeria is now the 4th most terrorized country on the global terrorism index, rating. So has the government abandoned the people to themselves? Let's stop this drama of insecurity. What do you think, Dr. Mu?
It's unbelievable. By the time they made the analysis of the amount of people, the amount of money, the resources just to save one man. And here we are. Nigerian generals are dying because their ammunition, their vehicles, So if Nigerian, you're talking about, like we say, you're talking about just worshippers, they've made light of the average life of, they don't mean anything anymore. Nigerians just die every day. In fact, for over a decade or two now, when you say 5 Nigerians are dead or 20 or 50, it's like, guys, is it that one that you are worrying about? Because in Benue, about 250 people, 500 people in Agatu were slaughtered. When 1,000 Nigerians massacred, then maybe civil society group will come out in 1 or 2 places, and after 2-3 days, then we go back again. This is the worth of the life of Nigeria. And this is general. This has nothing to do with whether they are just worshippers or they are street people or they are generals in the Nigerian army. Where we are right now is a complete abdication. It's almost as though we have no government, because from the definition and the opening phrase of our constitution, governance and government is supposed to do basic 2 things: to protect the property and life of the citizens. So where this fails, there's no governance. In Nigeria today, by the indices, when I look at the cycle of things, we're not ready yet. The Nigerian people. And again, you see, while I say this, because of what I know and the places I've been, when you have been so beaten to the point where you are now held captive, you can't save yourself. Nigerians are in a place where, they need to be saved. This is where we are. I spoke in the conference where I was saying that Benue State is a captured territory. Any place in Nigeria where you can go and kill 500, 200 people and nothing happens is a conquered territory. Nigeria in that context is a conquered territory, because the fact that nobody will be held accountable, the fact that nothing is going to happen, we're already conquered, we're already state captured, and this is why you see that we return back to the religious houses. We have to pray, we have to fast, until the day where Nigerians will wake up beyond political parties, beyond religious affiliations, beyond class, beyond any affiliation, and say it is about the Nigerian blood and soldiers. You are my brother, regardless of the name you bear, regardless of what religion you practice. That's the pain you feel is the same pain I feel, and Nigerians will lock hand in hand, just like what happened with Ahmadu Bello, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Awolowo. They came together. They could see clearly who their enemies were, the colonialists. These were different people from different backgrounds. Nigerians need to come together and see beyond the political class, beyond religion, beyond all of these parochial tendencies and tools that are used, and lock hands together and say it's our nation's first. The day that happens, then we will not be discussing this, forgive the use of the word, Mr. Wale, this nonsense. Nonsense, because the life of Nigerians have become nonsense.
Dr. Mo, I'm sure you see videos on social media of the military-grade weapons or armory of these terrorists and bandits and kidnappers, sometimes compared to ours.
No, they're always sophisticated.
In fact, now we hear and we've seen these bandits and terrorists have, aircraft, what's it called? weapons to bring down aircrafts. They can shoot down aircraft. They have drones now. Compared to ours that are still going around with AK-47s, our soldiers essentially are still carrying AK-47s. What has gone on to the collapse of, our military, Dr. Moore?
Growing up, I remember I had a lecture in Sierra Leone, and when we finished the lecture, they took me out to work, and the longest built road is almost like, from the city gate to the airport. You see that stretch, such a beautiful road. It was named after Abacha. And you can imagine what I felt. I'm like, why would you people be naming your best road after a dictator in quotes in Nigeria? And the story changed. It wasn't funny. Because they said to me, it was during Abacha that, Nigerian soldiers particularly delivered us from our anarchy. And now, Dr. Mo, you be very careful what you say about those names, the environment changed, and so you're talking about Nigerian soldiers, the most feared growing up. These are the most feared. They brought salvation to several African countries. It's the same people we're talking about now that are being run down by ragtag, untrained people that don't even wear slippers. Mr. Wade, like me, like you, I'm also asking you, how have we come to this place? What happened to Nigeria? Like our soldiers, like our intellectuals, like our designers, we're all over the world. In NASA, go to the agri community, go to the design world where cars are being made. We have Nigerians all over the world, leading tech, leading the banking industry, leading revolutions across the globe. But you come back home, the same soldiers that held sway, that were feared and respected, today we are discussing them as though we're discussing some children at the backyard who are playing. I don't know how we got here, but again, everything rises and falls on leadership. I ran for local government because I know that at the end of the day, what we're discussing is at
the grassroots.
Not because I'm not qualified or more qualified than anybody who has been president of Nigeria, but I understand that the responsibility and accountability is at that level. But again, these people up there will rig elections for the people down there. So what you're seeing up there is a replication of what you have down here. Mr. Wale, this is where we are at in Nigeria today. And it's
No, Dr. Mo, are you blaming the people for the irresponsible behavior of their senators and governors?
If you, they're one and the same at the end of the day. The local government chairman, the state governors, they are not different from, So yeah, the reason why we keep putting a lot of pressure on the president is because at the end of the day, the box stops with the president. But I'm giving you a clear example to see how it's a replication. Somebody like myself will not be wanted to be, because you know that as a local government chairman, the security will be restored. You know that misbehavior in terms of accountability, you will see transparency. So what you have up there is what is replicated down here. So I'm connecting the dot to show you that what we are seeing is the same government. The local, state, and federal are the same. Worst case is that now we have INEC, judiciary, and all. They are all the same. It's just one people. So we have zero accountability, zero transparency, zero, responsibility. This is what we have across all the status of Nigeria. Because if what is happening in just one location, then you can say, oh, there is an exception. There is no exception. It's happening in the West, it's happening in the East, it's happening in the North, it's happening everywhere.
Is it not wrong for us to be blaming the people who are being left to the masses of terrorists and kidnappers for the failure of political leadership?
No, I think it's also connected because during my elections, I saw how some of the people, not all, it was a few of the people that worked for me, took money, and worked for the people. So they are also responsible. We must deal with leadership as we deal with followership, because at the end of the day, Mr. Wale, people are deserving of the kinds of leaders they have, and there's a connection to it. And that's why for me is to continue to fight, to continue to win people over a day at a time where the value system is concerned, because we must have people that will say, I will not bow to this regardless of what happens. But what is even more critical with what we're discussing is the fact that you see this present regime. It's dangerous because they are using the law as a tool for manipulation. They are using the law. You know, I don't know how best to put it, but it's like today, in the Nigerian constitution, certificate forgery is criminality, is criminal, you know, to many years, 14 years, But today, in the Electoral Act, there is no even grounds to sue anybody who forged his or her.
2026 Electoral Act as amended, you mean?
Yes, as amended. So when a government now begins to use the law as a tool, at that point, we have reached ground zero. And that's why even credible people from local government levels up, can, even if the people want, at the grassroots want somebody, or they voted for somebody, it can be manipulated, and this is what you see. And I'm saying that because the question you ask is that, why are these people down here not doing it? Because the people up there have replicated the people they have. So here we are, Mr. Wale. We know the people, some of the people who are ambassadors today in Nigeria. You saw what Germany said even to my bond. Yes, you can imagine a country reminding us of a person that we put there. So this is the level we have gotten to. It's a replication of what we have at the top. That's what we have down there. So we have all become irresponsible. We have all become a people without account. Because if the buck stops with Mr. President, and where, for example, a general dies and you have people within the ranks are sacked, I will keep sacking people every week. This nonsense will stop. The local government will behave the same. The state government will behave the same.
You touched on something very critical earlier, which is, and I was trying to, that the people, are somehow complicit in their misfortune, because when time comes to do the right thing, they still aid and abet some of these irresponsible. And that brings me back to this issue of Nafiu Balagombe and all of that, because somebody resigned. You sat down at the convention where they knew the old one that it belonged to was dissolved, and the new one was ratified. Then suddenly you wake up after 1.5 months to say, no, it is not so, whereas there are evidences. But then, look at what's going on in Adamawa now. Some guy came up and said, Babachi Alawa and Atiku, they are suspending them and all. How is it so easy for people to be compromised like that? Dr. Mo, why is it so easy to destroy a party? For what exactly? I don't understand.
When poverty is weaponized, and when the value system of a people are completely broken down, Mr. Wale, it's easy to do anything. The examples you gave. When somebody who has not even seen 10 million in his life just receive a lot of 2 billion, it's madness. This is what is going on in our country today. So, and because the hunger is real, the people that are dying, the statistics, they are not rhetoric. These are real people. And when I travel across the world in different states and places, and when I meet people who fled from southern Kaduna in America, for example, well, there is nothing in this life that will bring them back to Nigeria. And part of the people that we've helped, if you look at the president of China or some of the people in Singapore and so many other places who their countries sent out to go and school, they went on scholarship and all of that. They can't even wait. After receiving education, they take the money, they take the technology, and they run back to their country. But in Nigeria, most of the people who live in Nigeria, they are jackpine because of hunger. They are jackpine because of unemployment. You jackpine because your father, your mother were brutalized and killed. How do you think you see Nigeria? You will never want to come back, even if you make all the money. I've met billionaires in dollars that own hospitals and all kinds of things in America, begging and waiting for a day we will have a sensible government. Nigeria will not need to borrow any money. And I can tell you, at least I've had the opportunity to have traveled, Mr. Peter Obi, across the world. And I can tell you one thing. Should somebody like Mr. Peter Obi becomes president, I'll tell you what will happen. And I put it just averagely. There are more than 10,000 Nigerians, billionaires, who will move into the country. We're not going to borrow money from anybody. There are Nigerians all over the world. So this is what we are dealing with, and this is what makes the story of Nigeria very sad.
So these current NSA service chiefs, they've outlived their usefulness. Yes or no?
1,000,000 yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Dr. Mo, right now,